gas of price lane. You shouldn't be either. We'll talk about it coming up next. I'm Rich WRVA. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is Richmond's Morning News, 727. It's an economic term everybody knows. The gas of prisoline.
You also said it was 727.
What did I say? Well, Gary, he's in here yelling at me all morning.
Take responsibility.
I know. All right, so it is 6:34. So what happens is we have to hit certain marks and we get the news done on time. And I talk too much in the first segment, so Dave's like, we got 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and I just, So there you go, Dave. Are we just going to keep count of all my mistakes this morning?
Yeah, so you're up to what, 3 or 4 now?
3 or 4. It's only been a half hour.
We're what, about less than an hour into the show?
Yeah.
Rich, you have to let Dave and I have our fun.
No, I'm going to start using that, the gas of prisoline. It's a new economic term we made up this morning. We coined it this morning on Richmond's Morning News. By the way, the Hill of Heroes, don't forget, tomorrow, be there around 7:40 or so, 7:45. It's going to take you less than an hour if you go volunteer, and they're going to put out a flag for every name that's etched into the Virginia War Memorial. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Such a cool thing. They do so much great stuff over at the Virginia War Memorial, but that is just to see that hill just emblazoned with so many American flags. It's awesome.
It is really cool. And to participate is something, but also if you want to go take a photo with your family with the backdrop of the river and the flags, it is just absolutely stunning. So that's tomorrow morning, 7:40. I'm asking all the WRVA listeners that can to go out there and help place a flag in honor of every member of the U.S. military that made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our country. Speaking of military and veterans, we're going to talk to some folks from the Wounded Warrior Project about PTSD this morning on Richmond's Morning News. So you're going to want to hear that. All right. The gas of prisoline. That's what I want to talk about next. We're going to talk about this during the 933 experiment because I do want to get your feelings on this. As I said before, I am Mr. Capitalism. I am a classical economist. I believe in laissez-faire. I believe in the free market, and I believe in as little government intervention in the economy as possible. I think when the government gets involved and they throw off the balances of supply and demand, that's when we start getting into issues. But I do have to point out, even as a classical economist and a conservative, I am frustrated right now with the price of gasoline. Let me tell you why. When we saw an immediate spike in the price of gasoline, I did all my research. I understand. I know a little bit about it because I grew up in an oil-rich environment that they had oil that they pumped out of the ground every day, and it was a big part of the economy where I grew up. So I understood a little bit about the economics of oil, and I had friends that were geologists and worked in the oil business, worked in the oil patches, worked in the refineries. So I grew up around that. So I knew a little bit about refineries and oil and the price of gas and all the rest of that. But when everything went down the Strait of Hormuz, we brought on folks that explained to us that gasoline and oil, primarily oil, is a worldwide market commodity. It is priced minute by minute, and there are a couple benchmarks that everything else is moves off of. The West Texas sweet crude is the best oil that you can find anywhere in the world, and then you have the Brent market off of that, and they both sit where and set the tone for everybody else. There's oil that's cheaper than our West Texas crude that comes from Russia, Venezuela, in the Middle East, and it's not as desired. It's not as good as the oil that we have here in the United States. It's a cheaper quality of oil. It has more sulfur in it. It has more impurities, but it's cheaper to use to make gasoline. So the really good West Texas crude goes to certain things, and we export that, but we import oil from Russia, Venezuela, and other places here to the United States for refineries because you use that lesser grade crude to make gasoline. You use the higher grade crude to make other petroleum products. So that makes sense. That's why it's a worldwide. There's a blend. We learned, if you listen to Richmond's Morning News, you'll take some Venezuelan crude and mix it with West Texas sweet crude. They come up with a blend that you turn into gasoline. And we heard that, okay, well, the gas is in the tanks, but then, the price of oil went up, the price of gasoline went up because of speculation. I'm like, wait a minute, that's already in there. No, they do it on the speculation of what it's going to do. Okay, fine. I buy all that. So if that's the case, what I'm starting to hear from the American petroleum industry doesn't jive with what they told us when the price of oil was spiking. Somebody just said, hey, Rich, I texted you before. I said the oil companies are scalping us, and that's exactly what they're doing. Even the president said that yesterday. So let's talk about that. We have gone from, in my lifetime, here's what I see. We've gone from brand loyalty to transactional business because the price of gasoline keeps going up. We're now transactional. I'll ask you this. Do you get your gas, Super Dave, do you get your gas from the same filling station every single time, or do you look for the cheapest gas as you're driving down the street?
Usually the same gas station because it's one of the cheaper ones.
Okay, but it's driven by
price.
By price. My dad used to work at a gas station. People would go buy gasoline from them, and it was like 10, 15 cents a gallon, and he'd jump out. My late father could clean a window like no other man I've ever met. He was perfect using the squeegee because that's what he did when he was 12, 13, 14 years old, working at that gas station, filling cars and checking air and all the rest. He was great at that. But people would have their local filling station, service station, gas station. Remember, there were filling stations, service stations because you got full service. And that's where you would buy your gas from. It was a whole experience. Now we just go look for wherever we can. So it's very transactional. If I go to a Wawa every day and all of a sudden across the street, somebody has gas 15 cents cheaper, U-turn, I'm going to go to that cheaper place. You have some place that is a little bit higher, I'm going to pass by them, see what I can find over at Costco. People will hunt for the cheapest gasoline. So there's no brand loyalty. If there was, I bet you would have a gas station that would say, hey, listen, you know what? I feel your pain. I'm lowering prices. I'm going to get some loyalty. They don't do that because we're not loyal back to them. It's now completely transactional on both sides. But what the president did yesterday, I found very interesting, is that he used the bully pulpit in a very public way to put his thumb on top of the gas companies and the oil companies. Like, hey, guys, you know what? Price of oil went up. We took it. We expected it. We understood it. We found out what was going on. And now you said it was a Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is open. Ships are coming back through. We're going to get a glut of oil on the market, but you still see gas prices going up daily over the last couple of days. You guys need to come correct for the American people. And by putting that kind of pressure on it, you will probably see now the oil companies and the gas companies going, hey, listen, we better do something. Again, here's the thing, and here's the tell for me. Like I always tell you, I look at things like I did in sports. I'm looking at the scouting report. I'm looking for a little tell, something you do that gives everything away. Here's my tell when it comes to what's going on with the oil companies and the gas right now. Did you ever hear anybody say, well, the price of oil was going through the roof, and then they started jacking up the price of gasoline? Well, it's the cost of gas, cost of oil that we use to refine the gas. That's why we have to raise it so high. You know what you don't hear? You know what I'm hearing this morning from the same people that were defending that it's the price of oil. It's not our fault. There's now 20% of the oil market's been cut off, and they've taken that hose and they've squeezed it off. Nothing we could do. It's the pressure all coming back up. That's why we've instantly had to raise all these oil prices. You know what they're saying now? Well, you got to understand, just because the oil has gotten cheaper and the price of crude has come down doesn't necessarily mean it's going to affect the price of our gasoline, because honestly, the cost of production of gasoline, only 50% of that is from what we get from the crude oil. So, of course, just because we've got a little bit less of crude oil right now, prices, doesn't mean the gasoline necessarily has to come back down. That's somebody spinning. That's the president calling and saying, That's the president putting them on blast right now, going, hey, guys, do not crash out over this. The strait is open. Oil's flowing. We're going to start letting Iran sell their oil on the worldwide market. And by the way, yes, that is going to benefit Iran. They're supposed to use it to feed their people. We'll see what they do with it. But that's also going to help the American people, because now you will have a glut. You're about to have a tidal wave of oil hitting the market once Iran is able to start offloading and shipping and putting their oil into the worldwide marketplace, you're going to see the price of oil plummet down, and gas prices better come down after that. Otherwise, the DOJ is going to go in there and look into. In fact, the DOJ is starting to look into. Wait a minute, why is the price went up so high, and now it's being sticky coming down?
1 minute to Pearson.
We asked this about a week ago of an economist from the Heritage Foundation, and I think the American people are frustrated, and rightfully so. We'll open up that for you at 9:33. I want to know, are you frustrated? We understood the price of gas was going to go up, but why is it coming back down? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that coming up at 9:33. All right. Text lines are open for you. 833-804-1140. You want to comment on the price of gasoline? Love to hear from you. And then the question we asked this morning, today is Worldwide Beatles Day. I think it was 1967. They played 5 continents. 400 million people watched the television show with the Beatles, performing 2 songs before they were released. So we asked Super Dave, and he is a big concert goer. If you could see a concert, if you just got to see one more concert the rest of your life, who would it be? Dead or alive? It could be Elvis. It could be the Beatles. It could be Jimi Hendrix. It could be Guns N' Roses. You have one chance to see one concert. Who would it be? Dead or alive? I said Ray Charles instantly pops up who I'd want to see. I might have to think about this a little bit more as well. There's some great bands, but if you can only see one, who would you want to see? 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140, the number for you to join us. All right, today's program brought to you by Pearson Signature Dealerships. Only